our second episode of Board Squad. I wanted to let you guys know that if you want to take a little piece of this energy with you home and create your own boards, we do have some for sale. This is the tote bag that you will receive, and we have a board inside that also says the Board Squad. Which, if you use it and make your own boards, we'd love for you to tag us in your posts or pictures and just kind of let us know how you're feeling the love at home, and also in your conversations and meaningful conversations as well. We'd like to be a part of that. So,
and we know sometimes we hear like people are like, oh, I want to do a board, but I don't know how to do it. It feels very complicated. And we have a couple of board experts on the Board Squad who are willing to kind of create a board map for you, to make it easier for you to know like where to put your cheese and your meat and your fruit and all of that. So just reach out to us and we will send that to you.
Okay, so let's get started. My name is Anna. I want to introduce Monica and my friend Delise. Our next topic is one that I think should resonate with this entire room. Women empowerment. What does that mean for you? What does that mean? So for me, I think being empowered is when I can show up as my authentic self with my curly hair, with my energy, and not make any excuses for who I am, how I show up, etc. So that's kind of what resonates with me.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of conversations about empowerment, especially now, right? When you look at the climate and how in the world today we're seeing so many of the rights that our grandmothers and our mothers fought so hard for being taken away. And so we talk about it, it's like, man, like we all feel, you know, at least up to this point, really empowered. You see us like kicking butt in our careers and doing all the things for our families. How do we maintain that same like attitude and mindset and like verve, you know, and not feel anxiety and fear when so many of these things that we have taken for granted are going away?
I think for me, I've actually had a huge life shift, home-wise and career-wise, going from being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and now entering back into the workforce. And in a congrats, thank you. And in an industry that I excelled at, but I wasn't married and didn't have a child, so all of these extra burdens that I have going back into that workforce and feeling like I could really make a difference like I had in the past. And so, so for me, I've been feeling very much empowered that I've been able to slide back into that space and do well. I know we're all like boss moms here, so if there are any women here who want to discuss about, you know, any type of career changes or just leveling up in your career and how that has been important to you and made you feel special, we'd like to take any questions or comments if there is anybody who has that.
Yeah, or if anybody's just like, you know, wants to comment about the state of the world, right?
Yeah,
and like
how
you're feeling about it all.
Okay, we have.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's on. This is an amazing empowerment symposium to be a part of, and I am exceedingly happy to be here and to be a representative for the Association of Black Women Physicians as a previous president. And when we talk about empowerment, and I'm going to make this short, 60 seconds, people know me. Don't make excuses or apologies for who you are. What you've accomplished, I say this to my students as a professor, as an OBGYN, as a physician, as all those positions, you earned it. Nobody gave it to you, and they're not going to give it to you. Right. And so in that position where you are, make sure that I believe you make the most of it. At that table that you represent all the people whose shoulders you're standing on, and that you reach back and make sure that there are more people at the table. That because remember, you ain't at the table, you on the menu. And it is so important for people to know this. And so as the Kaiser representative, as the ABWP representative, as the Black Woman Over 50 representative, as all the things that we deserve. So I would just say that the empowerment comes from no excuses. And whatever other people think of you is their problem. So when you know what you know, either because you've learned it, you've earned it, and you're in the position in order to make sure you can promote it, do so.
When you hear the terms empowerment, what pillars in your life are you feeling empowered or disempowered? How is that landing for the audience?
I would say for me, I feel empowered when I'm able to like share something with other women, like a task or something that I like, a talent that I have. So recently I just volunteered to be a cosmetologist volunteer at a hospital for Dignity Healthcare. And so for me, I feel like empowerment is other people seeing me volunteering my time to help children in pediatrics and PICU that are like in desperate need for whatever reason they got into a car accident or something traumatic that happened to them. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. But yeah, like, or even teaching a mom like how to do her daughter's hair, or, you know, having a class like that. So I feel like that's what empowerment is. It's always about making money. It's about like, what can you do for your community?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, I mean, you know, I think about it, like for me, just growing up in the Bronx. Yeah, Bronx. Shout out to the boogie. You know, that type of environment can be really challenging for a young girl to feel empowered, to have self-esteem. And it took me a while to be able to find my voice. I feel like I'm still finding my voice in certain rooms, you know, even because in the industry I'm in, like some of you know, like now I'm doing some bigger things, which is awesome, but I started out as an assistant. And so when you start out as an assistant, even when you start to move through the ranks of corporate America, some of the people, if you're still at the same company, they always see you in that role. And so it took me a while to be like, ooh, I gotta, wait. I don't like that. Like, it took me a while. Like, I had, like, it caused me, like, physical pain. But I realized after seeing some of the stereotypes that they pushed through and forward about Black women in the creative content, I was like, I have to speak up. Like, I'm in this room for a reason. I'm one of the only Black development executives that I see. Each and every time I'm in a room, I've got to find my voice and speak up. And so I think just knowing that other people were counting on me, that empowered me to find my voice. Yeah.
I think for me, it's a lot of what you guys just said, especially you over there with the kind of quasi semi-color hair. I think for me, it's about, you know, I don't know how many years ago, but I remember Oprah saying, and I was like, I don't know if I believe you, but I like you. I remember her saying, like, when you turn 50, you're going to be so comfortable in your skin. And it was so true. So I think in terms of how I ladder up to empowerment, it's about being comfortable in my skin. It's about standing in my purpose and value. It's about celebrating other women, to your point about leaning in to not just protect yourself or have your voice heard for others that are coming behind you. It's really about that. And recently I have a communications and branding agency with a partner of mine, and we were working with a former client, and he was like, hey, we just need you to do this really quick. You guys have always been great. Please be nimble, blah, 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 blah. And my partner was like, yeah, so you're going to get that invoice, but we're going to do it, right? And so when we sent him the invoice, he was like, now, come on, you guys. I don't think it is not worth this. And literally, I stood, you know, sometimes you're just like, oh, well, we might want to work with him later. Let me cower. Now, I'm like, absolutely not. I will walk away from you. Like, I love the work that you and your company are doing, but I will walk away because in 2025, in the environment that we're in, and yes, I'm Black, I'm a woman, I'm all the things, but I'm also fierce, I'm empowered, I'm smart, I want to help others, I'm a philanthropist. I gotta beg you for my money? No, sir, we're not doing it. So literally, I saw him the other day, and I'm sure he thought I was going to give him some shade. And I was like, oh, my God, it's so good to see you. How are you? I just want you to know on this second event that we're doing, oh, my God, your employee just did CBS. Like, we're in here. He's like, thank you. And then I emailed him later and was like, great seeing you today. So is the invoice in process? What are we doing? He was like, yes, it's in process. Okay, thank you.
Well done.
That's it.
Stand up for yourself.
Oh, Trey. Oh, we're good. Mike.
Pass it down. Thank you.
First off, thank you for having a few of us husbands in here. In this room of hyper-empowered women. It's a great thing. So the one question I would ask is, like, as I listen to the women talk about women empowerment, the face that you have to show outside of the home to the world is a strong one, is a powerful one, is one that stands up for yourself. I think for the husbands and for the men that are in relationships with these women, the question becomes, what does empowerment mean in the home, in particular with traditional values that may be operating behind the scenes? What does that mean? What should we look for?
A lot of people are in that position because we have careers and we have to be dominant in those careers because that's what the profession requires. You can't be timid, you can't ask for the second opinion, you have to take the lead in the careers. And then the minute you get home, you're kind of switching your hat and you kind of have to fall in line into your marriage and your beliefs. And I will say this, and I think the thing that I love the most about you, Trent, is that you always make space for me to have both. Like, I feel like I can have my career, and then when I come home, I can do the things that I enjoy in nurturing our family, and then you take the lead in other ways. And this weekend, you took the kids everywhere, like to the soccer banquet, the father-daughter dance. You know, we have another event with the kids later tonight, so I could be here. So I think communicating your values, I think that's something that's really important to me. And that's another form of empowerment, how you communicate with your partner. Do you feel like you can show up as your authentic self in the relationship where your partner understands what your values are, even though, you know, we have different upbringings, but our goal is to raise our kids in a loving home and where they see both parents as successful, but one unit. So
That was amazing, Anna.
That was not going to be my answer, so I like that. I'm messy.
Yes. It's all so sweet. I love it. Your relationship is amazing, and I love it. Love to see it.
What's the rub?
Rub. He's trying to get to it.
So he wants to hear what's. So for me, the challenge, I think it depends on who your partner is, right? Like, that's a big piece because you can both be what they call alphas in the house, and the expectation that I shed the alpha and come in the house and become a beta is not realistic. I'm going to give you respect. I'm going to give you love. I'm going to do a lot of the things that you want. Cook, clean. Those are the things I do. But I think your partner also needs to recognize that the word that they shouldn't use is submit. Like, that's not, I didn't grow up that way. I grew up with a mom who, you know, my parents were divorced and she did all the things. And it took my dad a while. I love him, God rest his soul, but it took him a while to figure out how to do the things to take care of me. You know, there were nights that I was at home, he had me for the weekend, there was no food in the fridge. I was calling my mom like, Mom, what do I do? So, you know, I respect both parties in the house, but I think it's important for women and our role to be taken seriously and for us to get that equal respect. Respect given, respect It should go both ways. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you guys think we're there in society where both, like, two-parent homes per se, do you think that we've evolved enough in society? We've had so many lessons how, especially in California, where both parents need to work just to afford a home in California, let alone all the things that we do. Do you think we've evolved enough as a society where we can kind of shed some of those traditional roles that women?
I don't think we're far enough along, but I don't think there hasn't been progress. One of the things that I feel like, as I've been married for almost 18 years and watching other people's marriages, one of the formulas to things going a little smoother, a little longer, is there being agreed upon what we want to consider gender norms in this household, right? And there are some women who enjoy being in those more traditional roles, and there are women, like you said, I'm going to be alpha when I come into this house. I don't even know what beta is. It does not exist in my DNA, right? But I do believe that when two people are both working to have a cohesive relationship, that it's about how do we make the way we are work in this household. So I don't think it naturally comes. I think it has to be like a real discussion of, let me tell you, I'm not a good cleaner of the house. So there's no point in you putting me in that position. Okay? It's just, right. There's my sister right here, yeah. So all we gonna be is both be mad. The house still gonna be dirty, and we both gonna be mad because you're trying to force me into a role that God did not make me to become. So I really think that, no, we are not at that place, but I do think as people progress and open their mind and are willing to have conversations, people are starting to be able to form the type of relationship they want in their household, regardless of what the norm is outside of the house.
That's the piece. Yes, that's the key. I love that. I love that. And speaking of somebody else earlier, in the earlier panel said, don't be afraid to, like, delegate and hire the people that you need, right? And so that goes against what we learned. I mean, my mother was like, oh, no one will ever clean my house. My grandma was like, oh, no, no, no. And I'm like, yes. Girl, you available? This house is trash. Come on over, please, help me out. And I definitely had to get my husband on board to that because he wasn't used to that. But I was like, we both want a clean house and we're both busy. How do we create a healthy space for ourselves and our son if we don't utilize other people's services? Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about another area of empowerment. I'm assuming that most of us in this room are probably in the perimenopausal / possibly menopausal stage.
They said no.
No. Actually, I mean it. I'm gonna claim it. There's a fan. I'm gonna claim it. She said, don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby. I'm gonna claim it. Okay. And I will say that has come with a lot of things that have made me not feel great about myself. The head fog, hot flashes, all the things that have made me question. But one thing that has been a nice piece that has come is, I know for not all women this happens, but my libido has gone straight through the roof. Straight through the roof.
Yes.
And so in my past, I've always been very traditional. In my sexual experiences, it's been very like missionary in that case. And now in this new realm where I feel much more empowered by myself and confident and able to just speak my truth, I'm able to ask what I want in the bedroom. I'm able to demand what I want and feel good about myself. So I want to ask you ladies, has anyone experienced this? Are you guys feeling more like yourself in the bedroom when you can ask for what you want, you can change it up and enjoy it? Is anyone here?
So I was a late bloomer, and I was a tomboy, and I was like, that stuff absolutely scared me. I was like, no, we're not doing any of what you're talking about. That sounds gross to me. But I was since I was so scared about it, my dad's pastor, and so there was no talk about it. But when I was in college, I had heard, and I went to a traditional party school. I went to San Diego State. Go Aztecs. And I became a peer health educator because I was like, we're not having anything happening that's going to cause me to have this for the rest of my life type thing. So as I got older, it took me a long time. I'm 45, and it took me into my mid-30s to feel more confident to actually be the more aggressor or, kind of like, come here, whatever. But I will say, as a doula in the birthing world and all of those things that I have behind my name, after I had my daughter, my second child, and I was 38, it was like a switch. And I had heard about the switch, and they always said 40. But it was like 38. It was like literally, I birthed her out, and it was like 3 days later, I was like... And I'm a naturalista, so I was taking like ashwagandha for like anxiety. And then I read about ashwagandha, and it was like, oh, this makes you even more ravenous for a man. And I'm like, and like full transparency, I was going through a divorce. So I had ASH Waganda. Ashwagandha, right, and maca root, and maca, M-A-C-A, maca root. And so I have coined, I don't know if anybody ever said this, but I was like, this is like the horny 40s. Yes. And it's like, it's on your mind. All the time. So if anybody wants to set me up for a husband, number 2, I'm okay with that.
Am I getting the shot?
It's so hard, no pun intended. It's so hard to, just like when we're talking about empowerment, to be empowered in the bedroom, right? And I think that also traces back to like, old school thinking. Missionary was the thing. Like they were in control. And so if you felt like you wanted it, from the back, or you wanted it in a different positions, you felt like you were being, like there was a scarlet letter on you. Like you were, loose or a hoe or whatever the words are. And so you have all of that in your head that's playing with you when, for us, in order to get where we need to go, we need to get out of our head. And so it takes a while, I think, sometimes, and that comes with age, to say, you know what, I don't care what you think. I'm going to get mine. And you're going to be, and then you're also going to feel empowered enough to communicate to your partner, this is what I need, and not feel like scared or like that you're going to be looked at crazy for saying that you want something different. Yeah.
I think in menopause too, because your body changes with, the drop in the hormones, you also have to be comfortable talking about it to your whoever you seek healthcare from, hopefully your doctor, your gynecologist, just to let them know, because it does impact your sex life, the physiological changes that happen in your body that are natural. And a lot of us, we don't hear from other women what happened. Like my mom never talked to me about sex. And so I made sure with my daughter and my son, I was like, okay, these are the books, we're gonna read this book. And they were like, Mom, stop with the books. No more books. Like they don't want to hear anymore. But I think we're getting there, and I don't think we're there yet, but we still need, I think social media is helping, for better or for worse. It's helping talk about sex, talk about menopause, talk about the body, the changes that women go through that might look different for men, and then can also impact other areas of your life.
That's right.
So I might be a little off because I'm not on the same page with the sex stuff.
It's okay.
But what I'll add to it, because I guess your own experience is your own experience, but I guess what I'm kind of surprised at is hearing this room talk about sex being, I guess, not so open, which I thought it was, but I guess the confusion is that I think as being a woman of color and being okay with your sexuality, because I feel like I've always been okay with my sexuality. Like, if you're not down for it, then you're not
Down for you.
You're not going to get on this ride, right? But I guess my confusion is because the way we've been depicted in social media is that we are very sexual creatures. And then hearing that we feel like we can't express ourselves that way, I think maybe it's because of the label that we've gotten from being black women in a sexual manner. And I mean, I know this sounds crazy, but it's like I used to be told if a white woman, I hope there's none here, but no offense, but if you walk in with a certain outfit and then you're a black woman, because of the way we are built, we walk in, it turns into she's too sexual. You know, if you show your brown skin, she's too sexual. And I used to find that really weird because the way we were being shown to the world, unfortunately, is that we're sexual creatures. So I used to think it was okay. So now hearing that some of us were like, no, you can't be this way, you can't be that way, I'm actually kind of surprised. That's just my comment. No
Get
offense.
it? No, you're good. Everybody's experience is valid.
Not to get too
Yeah.
deep, but
No,
it
let's
comes
go
from unfortunately. It's interesting that you say that because I do believe that it comes from slavery. Absolutely. To be honest. And so we're seen as strong and the person to be used because that's what they used us for, right? And the women were the white women were precious and, you know, the fragile, you know, as we know, is the fragility tears and all the fun stuff, right? And they are precious. And so we are used to birth the babies and feed their kids. So fast forward, you know, I used to battle that silently, very quietly. I would battle my self-esteem, but I knew I was very much aware of my sexuality and the beauty that came with it. And I definitely didn't tolerate, you know, some women fake it and all of that. I'm like, I'm not faking shit.
No.
You need to earn it. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But I didn't have the language for it, and I would feel a way about it, but I would still do it, if that makes any sense. Yeah. I wasn't taught about my body. I wasn't taught about sex. I wasn't taught about femininity. I was shown, but I wasn't taught these things. So I was secretly, you know, ashamed of being happily, you know, pleasured, you know what I mean? But I didn't say anything, but I was quietly feeling a way about it, you know? And so that's the thing that's, I think, deserves a deeper conversation, a deeper dive, to be honest, without...
I love that you shared that. I have, including me, 3 generations of women in my house right now, which is a blessing. My mom, my daughter, and me. And I don't call my daughter fast. I don't call her womanish. She's free. Because me getting called womanish for popping my gum and twirling didn't stop me from having an abortion at 16. Didn't stop me from running out the door and getting married at 18. Didn't stop me from having 2 ectopic pregnancies. Didn't stop that IVF, which I'm grateful for having. I still went through the silent trauma. And me and my mother had a conversation, and she shared some unspoken trauma. And I love my mom. She's 73. And when she told me, I said, bitch. Bitch. Because, like,
That's a whole different...
and I love, like, my mom is dope. Like, she's that mom. We holler, we have fun. And, like, we have to get to this point, I think we're getting there, where it's like that trauma that we don't talk about, it still manifests. We still continue the cycle. And I'm about the life of starting new cycles. I don't think we break them, we start new ones.
I think the misconception as well is if you are sexually confident, right, that you have multiple partners or you've had tons of partners, right? That's not true. You could have had 5 men in your life or what have you, but you are sexually comfortable and free. And so people will place a label on you if you freely talk about sex. Because I used to be like, girl, and yes, and then, and so. And, and that can make people uncomfortable. But that doesn't mean that you're out in the streets. That just means you are comfortable with your body. You're comfortable with your whatever you're expressing. So I just wanted to piggyback off of that really quick. But anyway, go ahead.
I feel like the greatest gift the women in my family gave me was sexual liberation. Like, I would come home like, Mama, this kid said they was doing it in the butt, and that's nasty. My mom's like, actually, it's not nasty. But when you have a husband. So she would crouch it with like, you can try it when you have a husband, but it still wasn't in a way that made me feel like things were gross. And then I spent a lot of time with my dad's mother. And when I went to college, she'd be like, Shanae, you need me to get you a box of them condom things? Because I'll go down to CVS and I'll get you a whole box. Because I was young once. And I'd rather see you protected than pregnant. My other grandmother, my grandfather died. She pulled out her handcuffs like, I won't be needing these anymore. So I grew up around women who were like free and empowered about it. So I didn't have these hang-ups, and I didn't have sex until I was in college. But like, I was the friend giving the sex tips before I was even having sex, because I was like, well, I read this in the Red Book and you should try it and let me know how it works. So when I do it, I'll know if I should try that too. And so I think, like, I would love to be able to, like, I don't want my kids doing nothing all crazy young or whatever, but, like, be similar, like, where it's, like, you don't feel, like, so shameful around it.
Hi, I'm going to make this quick, but it's so interesting to me that we're bringing up slavery. So I'm working on my PhD in anthropology right now, and yes, thank you. Thanks. But actually, the Jezebel trope is what we're all like speaking to right now as to why Black women are over-sexualized and why we feel uncomfortable in our bodies. But now it's manifested into what is misogynoir, right? So the media aspect of it, of over-sexualizing Black women. However, on the opposite side of that, we have the motherfication of Black women, where it's like, oh, nope, I got to be prim and proper because of church, because of how I was raised. And you don't have that middle ground of being like, well, I am a person, I have sexual desire, but I am not something to be exploited. So that's the conversation that's happening right now, is finding that balance. And it starts with conversations like this and not being afraid to have those conversations, because everybody is feeling it, thinking it, but nobody's saying it. So it's giving us not only the language, but the language so we can educate ourselves and unlearn things so we can educate our kids. So that's really a full circle moment of that.
Well, thank you for another spirited conversation. At the Board Squad, Charcuterie and Conversations, we're so excited that you guys joined us today for our conversation around empowerment. So again, we have some boards for sale, and we want to keep the conversations going. Don't let it stop here just because we're not seated in front of you. Let's have some more of this charcuterie, because we don't want to take it home and we don't throw it away. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you all for being here and coming out on your Sunday. We really appreciate you. We really appreciate the support. And yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, and so don't forget to follow us on YouTube, like and subscribe to our episodes, and also we're on Instagram and TikTok.
And Apple Podcasts.
And
Spotify.
Yay.